G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment and subscribe. And yes, you are here today because apparently Nvidia has hit another record high and yet the AI still don't know how to play rugby. I know. It's time to sell and put your money under the mattress, okay? And yes, we're about 4 weeks away from the inaugural Scott Robertson All Blacks announcement, and I asked ChatGPT to name me a All Blacks team, and boy, he thinks that Scotty Barrett is a tight hair prop. So I realized I have better things to do with my time, and yes, I went and I did the next best thing when it comes to selecting an All Blacks team, which is a stat analysis of the entire Super Rugby teams, and it came up with this result. So basically, to find the toughest and best All Blacks players, I've decided to pick 3 toughest and evenly matched games for each team, and I pulled the data out of these games and selected the standout players from these games for my 23 All Blacks selection. So yes, these are the best of the best players from the toughest of the toughest games, and let's go and let's see what I came up with. Now, just a little bit of disclaimer as well. I did not select any players that's on sabbatical. So Adi Savia, sorry, you're out. Sam goes to Beauden Barrett and Sam Kane. So yes, first up, let's see the loose-air proposition. I've got Ofa Tuangafasi coming in with just some outstanding form from the Blue season. He is probably better than he's ever been in his entire career. Much better ball handling, much better higher work rate, very good tackle count, and and a lot of the Blues' success is built on the back of the successful scrummaging from Ofa Tuangafasi as well. His position is being challenged by Ethan de Groot, the incumbent number 1 jersey wearer. I've dropped him down to the bench a little bit, despite that his stats is actually better than Ofa Tuangafasi's stats. But the reason I dropped him down to the bench is because the Highlanders actually has a pretty poor performance, so that the evenly matched tough matches that I found for the Highlanders are actually with easier opposition than the Blues. So Ethan de Groot's stats is a little bit, I think, inflated because the opposition that are selected for the Highlanders is a little bit easier than the Blues to get that evenly matched outcomes, because I didn't want blowout stats for any of the players to be out for the selection. So that's the reason why I have Ethan de Groot on the bench, but you can actually argue that Ethan de Groot might be a little bit better there. Another player who's also in challenging for the number 1 jersey is Xavier Numia, who's been absolutely exceptional for the Hurricanes, and with ridiculous run meters, 20 run meters averaging per game. But the reason I selected Ofa ahead of him is for his defense. Ofa makes 11 tackles per game, and Numia only makes 7.67. And when it comes to those tough matches, the work rate is really crucial. And then next up, at number 2 jersey is Cody Taylor for the Crusaders. Now, ever since Cody Taylor returned from a non-playing sabbatical, he's just been absolutely amazing. He's blowing stats out of the water. 30 run meters per game, 10 tackles on average per game as well. And he's really just solidified that position ahead of Somasani Taukei'aho, which was the front runner before Cody Taylor came back into the fold. You can see that the run meters actually doubling of Somasani Taukei'aho. 30 for Cody Taylor, 15.67 for Taukei'aho. More tackle count as well as Taukei'aho, only 7.3, which is why I have Taukei'aho on the bench. There's a couple Blues hookers who are up for challenging. I think Kurt Eklund might have a say for the Somasani Taukei'aho's position on the bench. He does have a little bit less run meters, but he has more tackle count than Taukei'aho. But the reason why I think Taukei'aho is selected ahead of Eklund is I think that Taukei'aho is a little bit better at the line-out throws than Eklund. So if Eklund can polish up his line-out throw a little bit more, I think he might have a chance getting into the number 17 jersey here for me. Now, coming to the tight hair proposition, this guy, oh my goodness, Fletcher Newell. When I saw his stats, I actually had to double check with some other websites to make sure that it wasn't just like an error. Like, it's just insane. He has 13.67 tackles per game and only 1.67 missed tackles as a tight head prop. This is almost the highest tackle count out of the whole team as the tight head prop. And, it's just incredible how much work he does. And his tight head, his scrummaging has been absolutely incredible for the Crusaders as well. In fact, he's probably one of the reasons why the Crusaders is starting to make a comeback late in the season, because of that platform that is built from that scrum dominance. And I couldn't believe it how much work he does, outside of the scrummaging. 13.67 tackles, by far the highest work rate out of all the front rowers in terms of defense. And boy, he deserved this spot more than anybody else in the Super Rugby teams right now. Now, coming in number 4, Patrick Tuipulotu, another guy who's a big part of the Blues' success. Just huge run meters, 25 run meters on average per game, and huge tackle count, 13 tackle count. Now, the fact that Fletcher Newell is 13.67, Patrick making 13 tackles per game is already incredibly high, but Fletcher Newell makes him look quite low. But trust me, this is a really high work rate, 25 run meters, it combined with 13 tackles. It's absolutely incredible for Patrick Tuipulotu, getting himself back into that contentions for that black jersey. Really looking forward for him to potentially getting a shot there. Coming in number 5 is Tupou Vaiai, another guy who's had a bit of run with the All Blacks. I think he's really starting to become more and more attuned with his role as a lock. His lineout has been really good. He plays 80 minutes for the Chiefs and just, pretty clinical from start to finish. Very little mistakes. 0.33 missed tackle count. Not like if you compare the work rate, not as high as Patrick Tuipulotu, and but he's still really, really good overall for the selections. Coming in at the blindside flanker position now is Akea Ioane, another guy who really looking to get back into the fold, into that black jersey. Akia's stats is so good. I had to triple check sometimes to make sure that I didn't accidentally put his brother's stats on him. And right, I was trying to make sure that I wasn't putting, Rieko Ioane's stats accidentally onto his statistics. But no, he's actually better than his brother in terms of run meters. He's done 32 run meters on average per game, whilst Rieko only 29.6. That tells you how good this guy actually is for the Blues. And he's just one of the massive weapons that the Blues is using to get themselves on top of the table right now. And it's incredible. 7 tackles, a little bit lower on the tackle count compared to his teammates, but it's still incredible how he's got 32 run meters on average per game. Coming in number 7 jersey now, it's Dalton Papali'i. Now, this selection for Dalton Papali'i is actually quite a difficult one. There's a couple of players that are also challenging for that tight number 7 jersey. One is Luke Jacobson, another one is Peter Lakai. Now, I think there's actually a pretty good argument for maybe Peter Lakai to take Dalton Papali'i's spot, because Peter Lakai, you can see here, 26.67 run meters per game, and Dalton Papali'i only 6.73 meters per game. And this is just, incredible if you think about it, right? But the reason I select Dalton Papali'i, I think, maybe you can call it bias, and if you wanted to put Peter Lakai in there, I completely understand. But for me, I think that for a flanker, the most important part is the defense and it's the turnover. And Dalton Papali'i wins over Peter Lakai in that front. More turnover, almost double the average turnover count in the game, and slightly more tackles and fewer missed tackles, fewer mistakes, and the discipline is a little bit higher. But that's probably the main thing here. It's the breakdown work. It's around the tackling, missed tackle count, and that's why I selected him ahead of Peter Lakai, despite having a lot less run meters, and also for same reason, pretty much for Luke Jacobson, probably more towards the penalty count. Jacobson penalty count a lot higher than Papali'i, almost more than doubled, even though Jacobson has better run meters than Papali'i as well. So with this selection here, if you don't agree with Papali'i, I can totally understand. But for me, I think the most important part for open side flanker is these 3 stats: tackle, turnover, and missed tackle count. And I think he wins over the other 2 guys in that regard. Anyway, coming in number 8, and this guy, someone who truly really deserved to get back into the All Blacks fold, is Hoskins Sotutu. He's literally the biggest, baddest guy in the Blues team right now. 36 average run meters per game. My goodness, the most out of all the forwards. 7.3 carries on average, 8.67 tackles on average, 0.67 turnovers per game on average, and 0.67 missed tackles as well. Under 1 missed tackles per game on average. Just incredible. And 0.33 penalties conceded. And just really good discipline, really high run meters, just brutal physicality. Man, he's been so good. The only person that is potentially statistically has a challenge for his spot is Christian Leo Willie, believe it or not. Christian Leo Willie has been absolutely incredible for the Crusaders. Despite all the underperforming for the Crusaders, all the poor losses and poor performances, he is just incredible regardless of how bad his team has been. 40 run meters on average per game, 14 carries. I mean, the run meters per carry is lower than Hoskins or Tutu, but just the work rate's insane. 14 tackles on average per game. My goodness, just this guy, has such a huge, bright future for the All Blacks. That's why I have him on the bench. I think that Hoskins or Tutu, playing for the Blues, has a little bit higher efficiency and a little bit better discipline, but I think, it could be a 50-50 call in some situations between these 2 players for that number 8 jersey. Now, coming in number 9 is Funaki for the Blues, another just Blues players. And the reason that Blues is so successful is the fast breakdown speed, and that is truly statistically shown here in this report, because Funaki has 65 on average passes per game, whereas his counterparts, Fakatava, only 53, and TJ Perenara, believe it or not, only 48 averaging per game. What this means is literally that Funaki has a much faster breakdown than the other players, because there are more because he's able to get the ball out quicker, and there's more breakdowns being created because the ball are out quicker. That is why he's so much more passes than his other teammates, and that is why I have him at the number 9 jersey. And he's really one of the big part of why the Blues 4-pack has been so effective and so efficient. He's one of the reasons why people like Akira Ioane and Hoskins Sotutu can get such run meters. Just the fast breakdown delivery from him, and also the turnovers at the breakdown. He's able to get in there, slip himself in there, and get that turnovers. 1.33 per game. That's higher than everybody else in the team. It's just, again, an incredible player. Totally deserved the spot at the number 9 jersey for the All Blacks. Like you can see, TJ Perenara literally had 0 turnovers at the breakdown. And yeah, another thing you gotta understand with TJ Perenara is you might be wondering why his stats look really bad. Because, like I said, I've selected only the 3 toughest games for each team. And unfortunately for TJ, his performance is really good against low quality teams, but his performance is just, really average when he's up against a tough team. So his overall stats actually looks really bad because the fact that he performs poorly against tough teams, and which is why I actually dropped him from the reserve, completely out of the reserves, because of how poor his stats are against, the top quality opposition. So yeah, unfortunately, you can tell me if you agree with this or not, but yeah, that's why you can see it like right here. That's why I have him on the bench. It's a lot worse in every aspect than the other two number 9s. Coming in number 10, hands down the best fly half in New Zealand right now, is Damien McKenzie. Now, D-Mac has been absolutely amazing. He's blowing out his other number 9s out of the water. He's 142 points scored so far this season. Plummer for the Blues, only 70 points. Brett Cameron, only 79 points. And in fact, sometimes when I see Brett's stats, I wonder if he's actually on the field. I literally had to check the players list to make sure that he's actually in the starting field. He hasn't taken off for an injury or anything like that. Same with Plummer. The stats are just way below what Damian McKenzie is able to produce. You can see here the Cameron's stats and Harry Plummer's stats. Harry Plummer much better, but Brett Cameron, like, really just, like, there were literally a game where he did not make a single tackle. I had to double check to make sure he was actually, on the field. Harry Plummer, the next closest thing, but it's still not even close. Damian McKenzie's stats, 59 wrong meters, 36 for Harry Plummer. And yeah, just overall, much higher kicking percentage as well. Hands down, number 10 for Damian McKenzie. Another person who earned his jersey, hands down, is Sevu Reece. He's absolutely incredible for the Crusaders. The top scorer right now in Super Rugby. He's single-handedly able to score tries out of nowhere for the Crusaders. Believe it or not, he's just that good. Despite his teammates are literally not able to perform, he's able to score without them regardless. And that's why I think he's hands down the best number 11 right now in Super Rugby. Coming number 12, another guy I think is almost a locked-in selection is Jordie Barrett. One of the few players in the world who's not only a great great second playmaker, but also someone who can crash and break through the defense line with physicality. And Jordie Barrett really don't have anyone else that really come close to him. I mean, Bryce Heem might seem to have someone that might be able to compete with Jordie Barrett, but I just don't think Bryce Heem possesses the same abilities when it comes to the kicking game, when it comes to there's a lot of things that you can't just that's more than what the stats directly measures. Like, kicking game, the way Jordie Barrett comes in as a playmaker, because like I said, Brett Cameron is not really doing his, not really carrying his load as the number one, as the starting fly half. So Jordie Barrett has to do a lot of that on his behalf as well. So really, I think Jordie Barrett just straight up the number 12, one of the best number 12s in the world. And yeah, that's why I have Jordie Barrett number 12 jersey. Coming in number 13, Jordie Barrett here. That's Jordie Barrett. I think everyone knows what he looks like. Coming in number 13, Anton Lennon-Brown, a guy who's also just really found his form this season, completely demolishing his opposing teammates essentially. Billy Proctor only 38 run meters on average. Anton 52 run meters. And Rieko Ioane, someone's had a bit of an injury, so he's really kind of on a bit of a slump right now in terms of his performance. But maybe he'll pick this up. But Rieko Ioane, his stats is just really less than desirable to try to get into the All Blacks jersey. Like, more than, the run meters from Anton is almost double of his Sam carry amount. 3.67 line breaks to Rieko's 1 average per game. That's really poor. 7 on tackles and 0.7 turnovers at the breakdown. Rieko has 0. Yeah, and also 2 missed tackles on average. 2 missed tackles on average per game. And Anton Lennon-Brown only 0.33. So way better than Rieko in that regard. Anton, hands down, number 13 jersey in this part. Next one, Mark Talea coming number 14. There's a little bit of challenge for that Mark Talea spot in the form of Imoni Narua, who's got similar run meters at 63 to Mark Talea's 68, but his efficiency is actually higher too, because Talea on average takes 12 runs and Narua only does 7 runs. But the real difference and the real reason why I think Mark Talea is a better selection than Narua is his defense. 7 tackles per game, only 4 for Narua, and also missed tackle 1.3 for Narua. Talea is just 1. So a lot better in that regards there as well. And also I think another stat that's really important is the line break. The defenders beaten stat, 5.3 for Mark Talea and only 3.3 for Imoni Narua. So that's why Mark Talea gets the nod on the number 14 jersey, and Narua just a little bit short. Coming in a fullback position, I think Ruben Love, hands down, gets that spot. And maybe Stephen Perifetta could potentially challenge it in the future. Maybe depends on the style. So both of these players actually quite suited for the number 15. But I think Ruben Love just such a great form right now, and just it's so good under the high ball, so good with the kicking game. I just don't see why just don't see. Yeah, I just don't see that Steven Perofeta can match him in those regards. But one thing that Steven Perofeta is better than Ruben Love is his running game. You can see that run meter wise, it's not as much, but Perofeta has run 12 times, averaging 12 runs per game, and he averages 19 passes per game, as opposed to Ruben Love's 7 passes. So what this says is that Steven Perofeta is more likely to counterattack instead of kicking the ball away. So Ruben Love is much better at the kicking game, but don't counterattack nearly as much as Steven Perofeta. And also you can see that defenders beaten as well, 5.3 to Ruben Love's 3. So I think in terms of like international test matches, the kicking game is probably a little bit more important, and just how good Ruben Love is under the high ball, I put Ruben Love at number 15 ahead of Steven Perofeta. Now next one, we've got Ethan de Groot. Already talked about him. Absolute machine. I think you probably make an argument he could start ahead of Offa Tuangavasi, but I just have him on the bench because I do think that his stats are probably a little bit inflated because of the oppositions that he's being matched against. And next up, Somasani Taokiaho. Already talked about him as well. Great run meters, great line-out operator. Coming in at number 17. And number 18, Tyrell Lomax. His stats are actually a little bit disappointing in my opinion. I was actually a little bit hesitant of putting him in the number 18 jersey, but I do think that his scrummaging is a lot better. It's probably one of the best in Super Rugby right now. But if you look at his overall work rate, it's quite, low compared to some of his challenging, some of his own teammate. In fact, Tossi, Basilio Tossi actually has better stats than Tyrell Lomax. But yeah, I just backed Lomax because I think that his scrummaging is just that good. And also that when it comes to test matches, when it comes under pressure, he's able to stay composed, not giving away penalties, which is a one key area here. Penalties given away a bit too much here by his teammates. But yeah, I do think that his overall work rate is a little bit on low end and definitely needs to be improved if he wants to retain that number 18 jersey, to say the least. Coming in at 19, another guy. This guy is a really interesting selection for me because initially I wanted to go 6'2" on the bench, but there's just no way for the New Zealand talents to cover everybody with just 2 back, because there's no one has the the ability to cover more than two positions at a world-class level. So I have to go with 3 backs, which means one of the 2 forwards has to be like a loose forward / lock, which is Colin Gray, someone who's really good stats as well. 17 run meters, 9 average carries per game, 6.3 passes per game, 15 average tackles per game. I saw he's the highest in the team, in fact, right now. And just really high work rate. And he doubles up as a blindside flanker and a lock. So that's why I have him in the number 19 jersey. Number 20, we're going to talk about Christian Leowilli, one of the unbelievable newcomers, and look forward to see him. He's going to be so good in the future, man. I tell you, one of the biggest stars that's going to be coming up to New Zealand. And the reserve halfback, Fakatava, we already talked about him as well. Just really good work rate, good run meters. I think one of the things that hurts him a little bit is his defense and his discipline. Probably improve a bit on that. It will be getting there to world class. He's he's got 0.33 turnovers as well, so a little bit less than Funaki, but overall I think he's definitely got the natural talent to get himself up there. Now next up, we've got interesting selection here as well. AJ Lamb as the reserve cover for center and winger. The only other person that can do this role is Rieko Ioane. And like I said, he just hasn't been performing. Like his run meter is lower than AJ. AJ has fewer runs, but more defenders beaten. 3.3 average defenders beaten per game. Rieko's only got 1. And, the tackle count, AJ's lower. And the missed tackle count, AJ is higher, 0.33. And Rieko's got 2 missed tackles out of 7 tackles made. Just overall, not that great, Rieko. So Rieko really needs to lift his game a bit in the Super Rugby finals to get himself back in the starting 23. Otherwise, I see AJ replacing him in the reserve utility spot, because with AJ here, he can cover both the wingers and the center position, right? So if Jordy Barry gets injured, Anton Leonard-Brown will go to 12. Anton gets injured, AJ will go to 13. Any of the winger gets injured, AJ will go there. The fullback gets injured, AJ can go to 13. Anton can go to 12. Jordy Barry go to fullback. If the 10 gets injured, we've got Stephen Perofeta, which is the final guy of the team to cover the number 10 jersey, and also double as a utility. You can cover a fullback as well. So Stephen Perofeta, like I said, he's just incredible as well, especially with that counter attack, and brings in quite a bit of utility. He covers the 10, he covers the fullback, and that should cover the entire back line in terms of injuries. Like, there's no other way. There's no way to run 6-2 without risking ridiculous amount of risk of, like, you know, not having a specialized fly half or a specialized, you know, inside center, right? Specialized reserve center, and that's just not good enough for international test rugby. So yeah, that's the selection, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know anything you don't agree with, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in a couple days for the news, and please like, comment, subscribe, and check out the, let's turn this off, and check out the merch store. I really appreciate you watching this video. This has been a really difficult video to make. A lot of time spent on making the spreadsheets and everything, and hopefully this is being at least enjoyable for you to watch. And yes, anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys in a couple days. Cheers.